Hello everybody, my name is Big Citrus and let's get into it. So it's time, it is time, I don't know why I keep saying it's time. It's time. It is time for the official consensus on Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, the newest spin-off series in the Gearbox Borderlands catalog. Now, I wasn't super hyped for this game. As everyone knows, I'm like the #1 Borderlands shill fan in the world, but I was very skeptical about this game. I remember before Borderlands 3 came out, I was watching every single video and leak and rumor that came out. For this game, I had barely seen 5 minutes of gameplay. I jumped in with medium expectations and I went in completely blind. And I come here today with a heavy heart to report that Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is actually kind of fucking great. Look, this game isn't going to win any Game of the Year awards or anything, I doubt. Like, it's just a great game and a great experience, but it's not a masterpiece by any means. A lot of people might just be saying immediately, oh my god, he's shilling again. I made a huge video dedicated to why I think Borderlands 2 is like the best game ever made, right? Look, I'm about to get into the real, meat and potatoes here and talk about what is good about the game, what is bad, what it does differently. But if you want a short answer, if you're a massive Borderlands fan, you're not going to want to pass up on this game. It's a great, big, fun experience, and it's something new while offering you a lot of the Borderlands gooiness that you love. Alright, for everyone else who is still skeptical and still watching the video or wants me to, praise this game or tear it to shreds, let's get into it. Not going to waste too much of your time, I'm just going to cut to the things that I like. There will be a spoiler section at the end. And yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I really like this game. You could just say that I had lowered expectations, and I don't think that's it. Because as I started playing the game and I was playing through my friends on stream on the channel, I was like, wow, I'm actually kind of really liking this. And then from that point on, about halfway through the game, I really started to be critical of every single aspect of the game. And I still really enjoyed myself and had a great time. As much as this is a Borderlands game, story-wise, narrative-wise, character-wise, world-wise, it has very little to do with previous Borderlands games, and you do not know how happy I am to say that. There is completely new and original characters in this game, and the story is completely new and original and really has nothing to do at all with past Borderlands games, minus a few through lines, but those through lines only improve the game vastly. Oh yeah, speaking of the characters, we have a few new characters in this game. The side characters in this game are very entertaining, and I like how each real chapter of the story you have a new side character and a new world to explore. You're really jumping through a lot of different kind of fantasy, styles and eras through this game, which I really enjoy. This game is just a love letter to fantasy and I guess Dungeons and Dragons as a whole. We have Ashley Birch voicing Tiny Tina, who is absolutely incredible. And of course we have, the big celebrity guest voice actor performances, like Wanda Sykes as Fret and Andy Samberg as Valentine. And I'm here to report that they both are very good. They're not really changing too much from their normal voice at all, but their line delivery is superb and their characters are not annoying, and it's really nice the contrast they have with one another and Tina, and it's just really fun to hear them talk about, things that are going on in their actual Dungeons and Dragons board game. Also, I love how the cutscenes go back and forth between the game you're inside of and them actually playing the Dungeons and Dragons Bunkers and Badasses game in a cave. I love things like that. But yeah, no, I really like them. But the one obviously stealing the show here is, of course, Will Arnett as the Dragon Lord. People might be confused as why I'm talking about the characters and the story first, but the characters and the story are a really big reason of why I enjoyed this game. See, Borderlands 3 overall, I think, is an 8 out of 10 looking back on it with all the DLC included. Great gameplay mechanics, some really good boss fights, some interesting worlds and areas, but overall just a lot to be desired in terms of endgame and a lot to be desired in terms of story and characters. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands really feels like it has trimmed the fat. The story in this game is very fucking simple. You are a newbie to Dungeons and Dragons, you're some sort of person in the actual Borderlands world, playing in this cave, playing bunkers and badasses, and the goal of the game is to adventure and become a knight and help Queen Butt Stallion defeat the evil Dragon Lord that is pretty much it. I just love how this feels like a Borderlands DLC, and I mean that in the best possible way. It feels like an extended story that's happening inside the universe. It's not some sort of grand scale thing. It's just meant to be entertaining, something that keeps you engaged, isn't hard to follow, and it doesn't make you want to throw your monitor out the window because a character did something stupid. Also, I really like the world building. There is like actual lore in this game, and it's really neat to see. Also, the side quests in this game are really good. Like, there's a bunch of them. I was kind of worried about this game being light on content, which it is maybe a little bit. That mostly comes down to the end game, but there's a lot of side quests. And maybe I'm wrong, but out of like the 7 side quests I did, all of them were pretty long and offered me something new. This game has flaws, don't worry. I'm not going to just keep, you know, stroking this game's staff per se. I guess I'll talk about a few of them. You can customize your own character in this game, and they do have unique voice lines and everything, and I do think the character customization is pretty in-depth, but I wish you were able to change more past the, I wish you were able to change more past the face, and I wish like the armor customization was like a lot better. As much as I like how the skill tree system works in this game with the action skills, and you know, you have like a secondary class, and you can kind of combine them together to make a whole new class, and everything feels unique, and there's more than 4 classes for once. I feel like because there's so many more classes and so many combinations, I feel like in its own way, it's a new thing that's very interesting to do and a good change, but also I do like having like 3 skill trees and really powerful skills that feel unique from one another. This game, you know, it's good, but it's not as good as it was in even Borderlands 3. I recommend definitely playing this game on intense, or else I feel like the game will feel easy at some parts. The boss fights in this game, especially near the end, are really good. The final boss is probably my favorite fight in the Borderlands series at the moment, but if I wasn't playing on intense, I would have beaten the game way quicker than I did. The interface in this game is fine. The overworld is a really cool, neat addition and really gives you something new to do in exploring this basically top-down area and going through neat dungeons and encounters, but I feel like they are basically just like pretty repetitive, the dungeons and encounters you have to go through. It's just a wave of enemies, but hey, it's better than a lot of the arenas in the main Borderlands game, so. But yeah, those are my only like real complaints, I guess. This game might not be like perfect at doing everything. Like, it might not be like, oh my god, this is such an amazing, groundbreaking feature, but it doesn't have that much wrong with it either. It's just a very well-trimmed game. Okay, time to talk about the gameplay. Okay, the gameplay is fantastic. I don't need to fucking sell you on the gameplay. If you played Borderlands 3 and you like the gameplay, it's even better here. Spells are a great addition, replacing grenades, and trust me, this is a good thing because I feel like grenades are just kind of like meh in every Borderlands game. Yeah, some of them do cool, quirky stuff, but spells in this game are actually super important to your build. Every single character skill tree gives a real incentive to use spells, and there's a lot of really creative, nice ones, and there's a lot of cool variations of them with different charges and different area of effects. It's nice, and I like it, and I think it's a great change. Also, all the skills do feel fun to use. Like, they're very interesting. I do like how you can combine them with other skills. I do wish they were like a little more unique, I suppose, but I like them. Gameplay feels fast, refreshing. The enemy types, there's a lot of like actually really goofy and funny character designs that I really enjoy. The looting is just as good as it is in any Borderlands game. I'm not gonna really go into spoilers here at all, but I really loved the story, and it really explores the psyche of Tiny Tina post Borderlands 2, post Assault on Dragon Keep. I really love the interactions with the main villain and the, you know, twist, I guess, near the end of the game. It wasn't anything like super fucking insane mind-bending, but it was just something really neat that made so much sense to the story. And the story doesn't try to be anything crazy or dramatic. It just tries to be something entertaining and pull on your heartstrings a bit. Boss designs are great, like just great. Like, they feel like they have a lot more like phases and a lot more like different attacks, and they just look cool as fuck. So overall, if you're not sold, be sold. If you like Borderlands or role-playing games or role-playing shooters or Dungeons and Dragons or goofy fantasy, go ahead and buy this. Now, if you're someone who only has $60 to spend and you're looking at the 2 biggest fantasy games that are currently sweeping the market, which is Elden Ring and this, Elden Ring is the better game. I know I didn't give it a number score in my video, and despite its flaws with some enemy design and some multiplayer, Elden Ring is a 10. Elden Ring is the current benchmark for open world adventure RPG fantasy games. But Elden Ring is like badass, cool, medieval, dark fantasy. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is like goofy, fun, whimsical, mystical fantasy that is just there to, you know, entertain you and help you escape into a different world. It's 2 sides of the spectrum, and if you have the money for both, I would get both. I want to start doing more review videos on the channel, and to give Tiny Tina's Wonderlands a final review score, is a little hard. Borderlands 2, in my opinion, is a 10. It is one of my favorite games of all time. Despite its flaws, those flaws are unique to the game, and I've kind of adopted them as part of the game, and it gives the game its own unique charm, as weird as that might sound. Is this game as good as Borderlands 2 in its current state? No, but it has the potential to be. I do like the endgame stuff with the Chaos Chamber, and, you know, there are some raid bosses, but I feel like farming for enemies and kind of just like the way you go about getting loot and everything, like endgame, isn't like the best it could be. This game's biggest flaw is something that could just be fixed with a patch, which is enemies that have unique names that drop unique items not respawning. It's been 8 years, Gearbox. It's been 8 years since the pre-sequel, but that'll probably just be fixed in a patch. Also, the multiplayer is a little unstable, but it's mostly fine. That'll also probably be fixed in a patch. So, without any DLC, I would say, and I'm not usually going to do half number scores, that Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is an 8.5 out of 10. The DLC really has a chance to elevate this game into maybe the best Borderlands game and my favorite game of all time. If you think it has some flaws that need to be, you know, patched and, you know, worked on, and it needs to have more content first for you to be able to buy it, okay, sure. But in the current gaming market, with every game just kind of coming out with quote-unquote lots of content, but most of it is just filler, boring stuff that isn't that entertaining or engaging, you know, I'm not judging a game based off quote-unquote how much content it has. It's not 2012 anymore. I'm not judging games based on that. I am judging games purely on what I got out of them and how good I think they are. And yeah, it's a pretty great game and a solid $60 investment. And I've been Big Citrus. Join the community Discord, follow the Instagram and the Twitter. And if you want to watch my video on Borderlands 2, it's in the description. And have a damn good one.